Welcome to CyberMasters, everybody. What an interesting show. My good friend Artie and Patrick L. Doogans.
Hi, everybody.
I'm testing out some lapel mics today, so we're going to see how that goes. I hope everybody's doing good today. We have an interesting show. We'll be talking about what's happening in the world, technology. What's happening? We're keeping it a little bit more on the looser side today. I'm going to just testing the microphones. Anybody want to jump in and throw some questions at us? Please feel free. We've been going at the show for like 8 months already, And here's my little secret box. There we are. There's our guest, Artie Sintef and Patrick Doogans. There we go. Look at my new camera angles. Now, if you'll notice something, I'm starting to replace the cameras here. This guy is my old stream cam, and this guy's my new Canon M50. So we're going to make some improvements here. And yes, I'm still figuring out how all this stuff works. Ooh, hang on. I got to go like this. And that's the Canon.
There we go.
And that's the regular. Look at that, stream cam.
It's beautiful.
And then you see the Canon M50, much better design there. And let's just check how crisp, isn't it crisp?
It's very crisp.
Gentlemen, how are you?
How's it going?
Mr. L. Doogans.
L. Doogans
is a surprise guest on our show tonight, and also a very good artist.
Thank you.
Knows quite a bit about art. And Artie, welcome back. This is your second time
Thank
on
you
our
for having
show
me.
here. The first time you came with the other Patrick.
Yeah, who bailed on us?
Oh, well, he didn't bail us. He's with us at all times.
That's
He's
true.
always there with us, How are you, Patrick, out there in regular land, Hey, Patrick Deegan.
How's it going?
Say hi to Patrick L. Doogans.
Doogan in the house.
Doogans in the house. It's always pulling through in some way. Artie, how are you, man? Tell me what's going on with you, man. What's been going on in your life?
Me, work, fighting the county, fighting the town, fighting the state.
Why do you fight so much?
Because they're corrupt. You know that?
Just a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how bad. Is it bad? Is it that way all over America?
I think it's everywhere.
I don't know how bad. Is it bad? Our mic levels are perfect, so...
I don't know where.
Sorry, I wasn't
expecting the audio check on the test.
Mr. Doogans wanted a mic check. It's not my fault.
I was feeling self-conscious.
But if you look at the world, right, so kingdom-style government operations has been standard for the beginning of mankind. So here comes capitalism coming through the door. Hey, we're going to be so much better.
Can I stop you right there?
Yes.
We don't have capitalism.
We don't?
We have cronyism. We have corporatism. That's what we have. I wish we had a full capitalist society. We do not. It's buddies, it's friends, it's family, it's nepotism.
Well, then it's much like what's happening in these kingdom-style operations,
Yes.
really just with a different label.
A different label, 100%.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. So certainly people think that civil service is a great place to start and really neutralizes all of that.
If you're family, sure.
Yeah, but I guess civil service in the Communist Party is kind of the same kind
Yeah,
of
pretty
thing,
much.
right? But I mean, it's natural to think that if you got a nice job, you get your brother involved, your aunts, your uncles,
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're all talented.
Not at all.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So...
You're not hiring the best, you're hiring your family, or your friends.
But even when you read the history books, sometimes you get a family descendant who's good, and sometimes not so good.
One falls off that tree.
Right, exactly. So you're lucky when one guy falls off the tree and is pretty good, right?
Right, yeah.
You
got to take it for what it's worth sometimes, right?
Yeah, exactly. But if you don't know how to grow up and really be an operations person, how can you get thrown into it?
Well, you got to get the right relatives, you can go anywhere you want.
Ah, that's true. Right. But I mean, if you don't take the roads that we took, where you kind of grow up and learn all the parts, there's so much that's missing. How can you really be a leader? Isn't it automatic to get into a nepotism style operation if you're not really an operations leader? I mean, right? Think about it.
Right.
This explains so many of our problems in the county, state, federal, go down the line here. Unqualified people in the wrong positions.
Yeah. Isn't it the natural result of society growing? Isn't a socialist society ultimately the end result? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I mean, we have socialism all around us, right? What taxes pay for, the MTA. A lot of our structures are based off of socialistic value. You need a mix of socialism and capitalism.
Yeah.
We need to get away from the other stuff, the corporatism and the cronyism.
But could capitalism truly be fair within our humanity? Are humans just completely incapable of truly living and thinking on their own? It's possible. It can't even get there, man,
It's hard.
It is. It's very hard and very deep thought to be worry and think about. Just sometimes, things are offsetting.
Agreed.
I think that's a good point. You can worry about it, but what the hell is that going to do?
Nothing. But it's hard. True capitalist society, true free market society. Honestly, I'm a libertarian. It's my ideal world. But what do you have? Greed.
So tell me about your work. You're a libertarian. What does that mean exactly? What is a libertarian?
Me, I make my own choices. I make my own choices about my body, my rights. I'm more of a constitutionalist.
Okay.
First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, the big ones. I don't want the government making choices about my life that affect me.
But isn't that the norm for all humans, pretty much?
It should be. Everybody should want the government out of their life. I mean, even to the basic things of birth control, abortion, anything. Do you want the government making those medical decisions for you?
Ronald Reagan used to say smaller government is better.
It is.
But now it seems that the Democrats have those ideals. I mean, was that a neutral ideal, or was that just Republican or Democrat?
They might say it, but what are they doing? They're just pumping more people into making new jobs, creating more positions, and nobody's shrinking the government. Republicans, Democrats, it don't matter. They do the same thing. They add positions, they grow positions, they add new spots for their friends, new spots for their companies, and the lobbyists, right?
Yeah. What are your thoughts also on this recent, wasn't there just a recent court case that just happened that kind of just reversed the whole action that the government's taken with their employees and with their mandates on vaccinations and stuff?
All city employees brought back.
Yeah. I don't know exactly the logistics of all that, of what's going on, or how those employees are going to be either put back to work or compensated in some way. But crazy that after all that, all those people that stuck to their guns and didn't jump on the vaccination train and maybe lost their jobs, and that it'd be nice that they're finally getting some restitution.
So you're saying the people who got let go because of vaxes are going to come back, get their jobs
State
back?
workers got a lot of them come back, yeah.
Get
This is in the
outta
last
here.
48 to 72 hours, I think.
You're
Just happened.
kidding me.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're kidding me. I mean, that I had that personally. I had somebody in the system for 20 years in my family who got let go, and they could care less about the dedication she gave during the pandemic and being there every day and breaking her ass, and they let her go. I mean, that's not fair. What the hell, man?
Again.
In the last 2 days, they changed it. What does that mean? They get their money, or what's going to happen?
They supposedly, and their seniority and everything else, yeah.
You're kidding, and this just happened?
Just happened.
Yeah, maybe in the hope of lost time or taking away lost time. Our family in particular had lost.
Dude, that's years worth of hours.
Yeah.
So.
But dude, the taxpayers are going to carry that payback
They pay for
burden.
everything. But honestly, this is something I hate paying taxes. I'd rather go for these guys who lost their jobs,
I'll buy it.
backing up their own,
Right.
morals.
All this time and all this dedication, and it's sad. I come from a southern state that doesn't have a lot of union representation. But from what I've seen in her case, or in some cases of these people in that, it's sad to see that it doesn't look like they got properly represented, in a lot of cases. So.
Good point, the union. Where was the union in backing them up?
Yeah.
But do you realize how many hundreds of thousands of workers got let go because
Oh,
they
yeah.
wouldn't take the vax?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
come on,
it's
man.
surprising how many people have stuck to their guns, like these elitists that have just said, no, I don't care what you do to me, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I myself didn't want to, and I just felt like, I have a medical condition, so I'm already kind of like a slave to medicine.
Yeah.
So I'm already just used to, kind of jumping on board for vaccinations and things like that, and they just, kind of just, with work and everything else, they kind of wrestle you up into that type of thought process. So kudos to those who, didn't get into that point.
Like I said, being forced to anything on your body is wrong.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, luckily for me, I'm vaccinated by Jesus,
Yeah.
so I don't really need to worry.
Good.
You know, so
Straight up.
that's very interesting. So the people who didn't want the vax, some of them sent a letter that they didn't agree with the method that was used to create the vax, which was the embryos of fetuses, right?
Right.
And they didn't like that because that wasn't cool, but nobody seemed to care about it then. But
it-
now everybody cares about fetuses again. So what's the take on fetuses? Are they good, bad? What do we do with all these fetuses?
That's an odd question, but in general, fetuses are good. They turn into babies. Just that whole birds and the bees thing. But
What we can think about is the South Park episode. Wasn't there somebody with a fetus on the side of her head?
Yeah.
That was a nurse.
I'm not a religious person. I'm more of an agnostic, borderline atheist.
Okay.
You're gonna odd review for me, but again, if that's your
I just want
belief,
to tell you, because of the lapel mic, we heard that gurgling.
so great, so delicious.
That's why I want the microphones, Mr. Doogans.
Mr. Doogans. But that's, like I say, if you believe in that, good for you, man. Don't get an abortion. Don't use birth control. Do what you can. But
Yeah.
guess what? That's not for everybody. It's your own personal choice, and
Yeah.
that's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's my own personal choice, exactly,
Right.
to do that kind of thing. But still, people have some wacky thoughts of what regulation are. I mean, so look at China, right? How many years did they have that regulation? You can only have 1.5 children,
It was a while.
right?
Decades, right?
What I found interesting was the 0.5. I always wanted a 0.5 child.
It's a midget.
The little people, right? Come on, you
I-
can't say what
is
you're doing.
is it somebody who's not fully developed in some way? Like, what's a 0.5 child?
Right.
You have to subdivide amongst multiple families
Yes.
to come to the full child.
Yeah, it's the overall population number in the math, yeah.
But they cheated. Like, people still had like mad kids. in some
Then if you
cases.
have enough money or somewhere you were important enough, you could still have more if you got a permission from the government. So you could still get around it back then. You had to get permission from the government to have more.
Yeah, of course, the traditional corruption stuff.
Of course.
You're not going to get around that anytime. Oh, that's pretty sad, you know what I mean? But sort of, if you look at the financial restrictions we have in this country, we sort of have that here too. Think about
We
it.
do.
How many kids are you going to pay for? Right? I mean,
Right.
that's pretty crazy.
It's crazy. It's a money pit anyway, having kids, right?
Yeah.
So the more you have, you're just gonna doing yourself, especially in the time we're in right now.
Well, I mean, how much is superficial? Because you could raise your kids on a farm and not give them all the stuff, and they come out.
Yeah.
Not in New York.
Well, no, I mean, upstate, no, they got farms
Maybe.
upstate and shit. no.
Well, I was listening to a radio station news in the morning, and they were talking about how the cost of turkey this year has gone up 70% from previous Thanksgivings with the
I
cost of
heard that.
inflation.
Go shoot your own.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. And that there's apparently some sort of, and again, I think they're trying to drum up turkey sales, but they're saying that there's some sort of shortage of turkeys, and that's going to contribute as well to the cost. And,
Why is there such a shortage on turkeys?
from what I gathered from that article, I think they said just I guess breeding just is down. I'm not really sure. I don't follow turkeyism that
Turkey breeding is-
I read a headline, I'm trying to get it out there.
Well, you're sort of the local expert on turkey, Mr. Doogans, on turkey, genetics there.
Right.
So,
You know.
how do you plan to take care of your turkey this year, Mr. Doogans?
Usually I hand that off to the missus, as I don't like to get my hands
Mrs.
dirty.
Doogans.
Yeah, Mrs. Doogans, she likes to get in there and get deep into the turkey.
Do you fry your turkey, or do you just cook it in the oven like everybody else?
Yeah, I like normally baked, but I'm going out there. You can. I've seen those people bust out the fryer, right?
How
Dig
do
it in the ground?
libertarians fry their cookie?
Any way you want.
Anyway, okay. You're not gonna tell me what to do.
Hard. You can't tell me what to do.
I put mayonnaise on it. It's raw.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Well, hold on. Mayonnaise on turkey? Is
That's
that
what-
the new thing?
I don't know.
Socialism or something. Come on, we can't have that.
I tried to think of something absurd that would make your mind go, no. What?
I've had ketchup on turkey. It's not bad. It's not bad. You can put ketchup on anything, really.
No.
I'll give you a special meal. Ready for this?
Well, rice and ketchup.
Cinnamon raisin bagel with
Alright.
cream cheese and bacon.
I'm in.
Okay.
It's freaking delicious.
Bacon goes in everything.
Try it.
Okay.
They had like a food taste test here like a year ago with crazy stuff you could try out, you know what I mean? It was pretty interesting, actually. But I love exotic foods, but I don't know if I would eat bugs, though. What about
I'm out on that.
Yeah.
No.
Do you think you could put yourself to the test and be on a show like Survivor or The Amazing Race and have to like split open like one of those pussy larva cockroaches
I would eat a pussy larvae cockroach.
where it like
yes.
kind of cracks and pops when you bite it?
So
It's just a second of discomfort, I guess you have to.
is it
then you gotta
possible
get it down
the
gut.
food of the future is bugs?
I've
Now
heard
they say that they say it's going to be they're going to get these 3D food printers and most of the filament will be bug juice.
Yeah.
You know, high protein, very good for you. I mean, could we possibly feed all the poor with bug juice, with bug stuff?
COVID, take me now.
That's crazy. I mean, if you're hungry, I guess.
I mean, you know,
You
as a
have a choice.
libertarian, you'd be like, hey, I prefer bug juice. Isn't that
Go
the
for it.
thing?
If that was
You
your
know what I mean?
choice, right?
If that were your choice, you know.
Give me a nice steak, potatoes, I'm good.
So as both of you guys, an artist and a turkey specialist, and you yourself as a libertarian and a technology expert, what's happening with social media and the freedoms we had when Facebook started and what Facebook has become? Why is it so restrictive? What happened? You and I were talking about this today, right? Especially as a libertarian, weren't you looking forward to Facebook and all that dream sailed away, if you will?
I miss MySpace. But
It's probably still there.
it is, somewhat. Honestly, it's a private company. They can do what they want. In terms of services, really, it sucks. It's not what it used to be. They censor so much more crap. But guess what? Find something else. Move on. Create your own. Find somebody else. There's got to be a better option. If you don't like it, it's a private company. Move on. Censor it. Boycott it. Move on.
But people put their whole lives on those social media platform. Now, all of a sudden,
I think that's a
I was
problem.
cut off for 30 days for something stupid.
I think you're putting your lives on there is the problem. I don't even know when you're eating for dinner, when you're going to the bathroom, or any of this. Like, it's getting ridiculous now.
But isn't that what it's for, to share your day-to-day with your family that's not near you?
To an extent, would be fine. Pictures, cute, fine. Do I need to know your daily schedule?
Right.
These people are tagging themselves. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm at work. I'm here. I don't care.
Yeah. There's definitely, I've found in my lifetime that you have to be willing to manage those people, and kind of be like, okay, I'm going to shut you down for 30 days, or maybe even just like throw you to the back burner there of seniority. Because it is, and people rub you, kind of the wrong way sometimes too. I've got people that just can hit points. I'm like reading, I'm just like, what this person is doing at a given time is definitely rubbing me the wrong way. And I find filtering people out is not too bad. I mean, how effective is it? I have done it.
Why are people taking those posts so damn seriously and so emotional?
Yeah, exactly. I've often thought about that too. It's just like, why do I care so much? And also about the age we're in.
Why is it so emotional for these people?
I mean, it's like there's a lot of like, show me. You're getting minute per minute. We were talking about deaths, like also earlier tonight, and that about how there's just so much death around you because you see it all the time. It's in the news, and everybody, like, minute per minute, you could probably look up somebody dropping dead, and you're informed about it.
Wow, so you're thinking about death and the end all the time.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah,
Maybe not all the
right,
time, but
you're
it's
right,
out there, right?
Media-driven. Good point, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's messed up, So one of the things that I think about is in Vienna when I was a little boy, when Santa Claus showed up, he always came with the devil. Why in America did they take the villain out of Christmas when everybody knows you need the villain with the bad guy? Like, what's that all about? Doesn't that sort of prove that the media is messing with us?
That was Batman without Robin.
What is Santa
Santa
without
Claus.
Krampus?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
America, there's no protagonist or whatever they call it.
Only in horror movies.
Right.
Why did they do that? They're manipulating our minds. That's proof right there.
Yeah, it's marketing. Everything's a sale, right? They're trying to feed everybody into that thought process now.
So I made a mention of, I said a curse word in Indian about hackers who are taking people out and cursed me out on the phone, and I was banned for 30 days of Facebook. So away from me. What the hell was that all about?
Yeah.
They've gone to the extreme. A lot of their stuff's automated now. They're not even looking at it,
You
unfortunately.
think that was a bot?
Right.
Most likely.
Very likely.
A lot of their stuff is automated, unfortunately. We know that.
There's just too many people to keep track of.
Yeah.
They'd have to be monitoring it.
If you fight it, you might be able to get through it, but it's not even worth their effort. I don't care. If I get banned, I'll take the 30 days. I don't really care. I'll move on.
Really?
It's not worth fighting it. I fought a few. It's not worth it. I don't care.
So you don't think it's a human behind it?
Most of the time,
Even
not.
if you complain?
If you complain, you might get a human.
Right, you might just kick it back and say, hey, I want to argue the point, and then they'll probably just like reverse it or possibly, torture your life with.
What if you got important stuff on
I've
there?
had
You
two.
know, your pictures. Do you
can still
download
download
everything?
You can still download your whole backup, your whole profile.
Oh,
Yes.
you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your
Now,
account.
Facebook has also a thing called the GDPR portal that if you're like, erase everything they ever had, they let you take it down. Have you seen that?
Yep.
You think that's real?
There's something kept somewhere.
Reversed.
I'm sorry. Nobody deletes anything. There's always some type of trails or some type of something left.
3 cases last week, young people that are saying, oh, I closed my account so they can't find me. No, it's all there. You got to go in there and one by one pick out the pictures. I think you know who I'm talking about, but I recommended a young man who I like quite a bit to another businessman. And the businessman contacted me 3 days later, says, look who you referred me to. He has pictures of him in high school, like with a hoodie on, very disrespectful type of things. He goes, well, I closed my account. Yeah, but your pictures are still
They're
there.
still there.
You're into the account. How many people don't realize all that stuff is there in prison?
Unless you actually delete it, it's still sitting there. It's there.
Now, you're talking about multiple platforms.
Yes.
You have all kinds. Oh, I lost my Reddit password. Figure out what it is and get your shit out.
I got banned for life from Reddit.
Oh, man.
Why? What'd you do?
I have no idea, actually.
But you didn't say anything?
I mean, just something popped up said I was banned for
Nothing
life.
that pops in your head.
No, nothing actually. I barely use it. I go on and read a few articles, and I logged in one day to read an article somebody posted and banned for life. I can't comment, can't. I have no idea. It's awesome.
Oh my God. Now, what about Twitch and all those things, right? You gotta have...
Twitch, Twitter, go down the line. Instagram.
There should be a service where you have one login gets you onto the social media sites. Imagine that.
You get hacked on one, you get hacked on all.
Well, no, it's sort of this primary portal where you can get in there, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, people who do social media work do have, there's apps that do connect them all. I can't think of the name of the top of my head, though, but there is apps that do work
Do connect
with all
them
of
all
them.
together?
Especially if I do campaign work.
Okay.
So we have campaign apps that you log into, and they can, when you send the thing on tweet, Facebook, Instagram, it goes to everything at once. So they're all connected through one app, which is
I
nice.
just don't know what the hell I'm doing is the problem here.
You gotta pay money. That's the big deal.
Yeah.
There's no free apps for that.
Anything, yeah, money talks.
Give me the money.
I mean? So, Mr. Doogans, let's talk about your art a little bit. You're quite the artist. How do you feel that social media is helping or hurting your art career? That's a good question.
Yeah, it's very interesting and well thought out.
Because you do some unique things, and your art is very good. But is it, while it's getting your voice out there, how is it holding you back from getting your art out there?
Well, I mean the automated world out there, bots are a problem. Social media, I guess, for an artist is nice because it does give you the opportunity to put your work out to a large amount of people that wouldn't normally be there. But yeah, often I wonder what happens to children, who get exposed to that type of stuff growing up long term. What's going to happen to the next generation? Because there is a lot of stuff going on online all the time. It's going to be a wild ride going into geriatrics, being old. Oh, my phone.
Oh, that's interesting.
got it.
Interesting. So is it more positive or negative, or what do you see as this growth takes place? Like,
as I get older and I see family and friends, I probably think it's more of a detriment to have so much technology, or at least not a more organized thought pattern on kind of I think schooling should probably maybe go into like kind of training our children in respecting and understanding
But hold
technology.
on, you're making a good point, and just the
go
fact
ahead.
that his children could pick up what he did when he was in his adult life. What were you gonna say?
No.
Oh.
Just think. I'm just thinking.
Think about what he said before. His you can drink, dude. Like they
I'm just slipping. I don't want to bring on
He's playing his phone.
I'm just saying that we didn't get any sponsorship. I don't want to give anybody any,
I know, it just on that particular
Free.
shot you're leaning down looked a little
Okay,
strange.
I won't do that. Drink anymore.
Oh.
I mean, I know your name is Doogans, but still.
Doogans.
Not that kind of a dude.
All right, I'll keep it straight.
You can drink whatever you can do, it's fine, man. It's
Excellent.
All good.
All right, well, that's good to know.
But my social, I don't know if social media is helping my art, because I'll tell you what I think is going on. While I think I have a decent show and I'm going places, the existing flow wants to knock me out.
Yeah.
I've played video
Good.
games where I've come in and I just get my butt kicked by every player over and over because it's become so mature. You know what I mean? So
So
is there
mature
other
or so
outlets I could
immature?
use? So
They're
mature.
both so mature. Yeah.
So mature and advanced players. You go into these advanced players.
Yeah.
Did you just a target and they're making points off you?
Yeah.
Could social media be as detrimental to an artist as it could be positive? You know what I mean?
I think it's oversaturated.
No, that's true.
That's a huge problem right now. Like, honestly, you got people making millions of dollars on dog videos and ridiculously dumb videos. That's what the people want. They want that quick fix. I want to sit and watch a stupid dog video or a stupid couple acting up, and I'm done in 25 seconds. I move on with my life. Am I going to spend time sitting there watching an artist or something like that unless I'm really looking for it? People want quick fixes now. Attention span is almost nothing. They don't care. I hate to say it, that's how it is. Our attention span is nothing. As the younger ages, it's really even worse.
Right. That's a definite, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So when you look at my website and you see the shorts on there, they're getting 2 to 3 times the hits.
100%.
The 15-second clips, which don't give you the whole story,
Nope.
have a lot more meaning. They want to define us by a 15-second clip, each
But
one
if
of them.
somebody sees that, though, if they're really interested in that 15 seconds, they're going to look at the whole video. But most of the people, 15 seconds, move on.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, isn't that sort of what you're doing with your art? You're doing these 15-second clips and you're killing with it, you know?
Well, I guess really what I'm doing is trying to, establish a fan base that maybe in the future could, help me. Maybe I can direct them in some way that can help me out, either positive, monetary, or, just more social,
So you're doing
friends
it
of
for the art
friends.
value.
Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to expose what I'm doing, inspire myself to do more, and put myself out there and maybe try things that I normally wouldn't. I'm trying to use social media for that. Am I doing anything successful with it as others?
Are you getting the right results if it's a jaded result? Are you getting? Are you seeing your experiment fully develop if all your competition is out there that's hurting you, wants to suppress your message compared to their message?
Or how do I know if the people that are following me are bots? There's probably like a third of the people that follow me are some sort of system that's trying to identify me and take my information.
Is that why
Or sell
Elon?
Bitcoin.
Is that why Elon's firing all those people? Because more than half the users up there are bots,
They're all bots.
right?
Most of these are paid. They're paid bots, really. You can go on sites and pay for your users, pay for clicks.
Yes.
Twitter, Facebook, any of these sites.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
yeah.
Now, if you look at my views, I didn't do that. Those are actual,
natural.
natural.
No
Yeah, I'm all
C-section
natural.
involved. It's all
I
just
don't have- I
natural.
have
So that
real
check's not coming?
Clicks. No, not anytime soon. You gotta cheat to get a check. But people get something out of it. They watch a show. They're like, "Oh my god, you guys said the weirdest stuff." You know, like what's going on? You know what I mean?
Get the YouTube plaque, you'll be like in there.
But it's good to see how society is changing on all this stuff that's going on social media. It's really changed how we work completely. You're making your art on social media. You're expressing yourself on social media. Here with me on the show. Social media it's no longer magazines, television, radio spots. It's this kind of stuff. So if Facebook is suppressing this to some degree, how is anybody getting a real message? Flyers dropped from the airplane, you know? How's anybody getting a real message anyway?
It's hard.
Anymore?
Unless you got social media following anymore, it's hard to go anywhere, unfortunately. God, look at us. You're my age. A little older than me. BBSs. I grew up on that age.
Bulletin boards.
Bulletin boards. And
That was free. That was open.
exactly. This is stuff I grew up with. You know, my Commodore 64, logging into my bulletin boards, playing games, talking to people, meeting friends, selling stuff. Like, we had a nice thing. There was no money. There wasn't what I ate for dinner. I went to the bathroom at 3:15. Nobody cared about that. It was a good life.
But because of the hacking that's going on,
It's that.
does the internet have to be partially owned by the U.S. government now?
No.
Wouldn't that have benefit?
Do you trust the government to own anything?
To the internet.
It's unfair that the businesses and the operations have to pay for the cyber wall. The government should have partake in that. Why is it up to the businesses to buy all this insurance and stuff, and the government wide open? You know, look at other countries; they've clocked stuff down. Is it inevitable that the government will own part of the internet or something like that in the future?
Unfortunately, I'm going to jump in, yes. But do you trust a government who is running their nuclear arsenal on 8-inch floppy disks as of 5 years ago?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
We've talked about this before. The government is so outdated, they don't have a clue. They're not up with the technology. The hackers are so far ahead of them. And by the time they catch anything, we're all screwed.
So I was telling you this in the parking lot. I decided to take the IT Specialist 1 test for the government in 2019, and it was provided to me on a 3.5-inch floppy disk.
Yeah.
I think I have it somewhere here. I'll find it. It had my name on it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Did you know that I think I knew the answers based on how the floppy disk was copying the data to it, whether I got the answer?
This is sad.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
Do you want them charging the internet?
Government IT people are entered today with a floppy disk test from 1973.
I'll pass.
Did you take your test on a floppy?
No, I was actually in person.
No, well, I was in person.
No, mine was on pen and paper.
Wow.
We don't.
I had a computer, yo.
I did have a PowerPoint test to show I can use PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. All right.
Oh, okay. That's good. But yeah, no, I was on a.
As a government, a political person, I have to go to the state every year and get the voter registration to see who voted, who's in my district, who's registered with my party now, and I don't know. We all have laptops now, right?
Yes.
How many? Any of them come with CDs?
No, I haven't seen a CD-ROM in 10
but
years.
that's what they send it to you on.
On a CD?
They send me a CD-ROM of the voter registration of all of New York.
Wow.
What am I supposed to do with that?
USB CD.
I had to go buy a portable CD player just to read this.
Wow. Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, optical disc is still something used there.
Yeah.
So I just want to say I worked with the county clerk, and there was a redundancy of paperwork conversation. And secondly, there's a 99-year retention rate on data on CD-ROM drives, not thinking that CD-ROM readers won't be available anymore in the future. Like, what the hell are you talking
You got
about?
to buy an extra.
Exactly. What can I get you, Doc?
Nothing.
All right, good.
I'm doing great.
Redundancy, huh?
Yeah.
Shocking with the government.
So, but I got to tell you, I think that it leads to some complications because the government will have to be involved in some way. If America becomes more socialist over time, does the risk go up about government-owned internet? If government-owned internet, what would it look like? What do you think?
You want to jump on this one?
Oh yeah. What do you think? I feel your perspective in the matter would be.
Do you think they'd cut off your art if they didn't like it?
I mean, they would definitely probably put some regulations in that on what could be, put out there for
Right.
sure.
100%.
Now you take classic pieces and you take pictures of them in a certain way. What if one of those characters is now deemed to be some evil guy, and you took a picture of it 2 years ago as art, but now he's an evil guy? You know what I mean?
You're done.
You're done.
Right. or you stand behind it, and you just state, what were your motivations to create that type of art. I mean, as an artist, that's the card I would play if I was put in that position. I would say, I have examples in my life that I can equate to in my mind, about how maybe inappropriate art is seen by someone who finds it inappropriate. And things like that happen. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I look at art in many ways. You got musicians. Look at in Russia. You have the Pussycat Dolls. I think they were right.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Were arrested.
I was
for
like,
what?
what are you saying?
Yeah.
Protesting.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
They because of their art. It's just what's going to lead to. It's going to get worse.
Interesting. Well, we're artists, and we're just kind of chatting, So I guess, is that what a traditional jester was? A guy who kind of like just chatted about the important things, and it wasn't like, hey,
Pretty much.
yeah, the Kim killed, 600 people the other day. Hope you're doing well.
3 goats died and we're good.
3 goats died, move on, Let me make a little dance and see how happy I am, But I guess has society really gotten that much further away from that behavior? I'm getting the picture that those same mannerisms exist today, just with technology, with cool computers and stuff.
It hasn't changed. It's advanced technology, but that's it.
Right.
Nothing's changed.
Right, because I think about that. If you give technology to people, this art technology to people in the medieval times, still would have had witches, still would have had
the crazy
all
jester
that.
being ridiculous.
Right.
There'd be techno wizards and stuff like that.
Wizards.
Yeah, this is
I like
straight
that.
out of the Dungeons and Dragons world, all right? Shadowrun.
Dude, techno wizard.
I like
Did
this.
you know that Otto, the master of technology, is going to be joining the show starting November?
Whoa.
I love it.
Yes. He's an actual techno wizard, and I plan to put him right here, actually, somewhere here.
I recently went through your back catalog and ran into your interview with your hypnotist.
Yes, Philip
interviewer.
Armand.
That was
Phil-
amazing. It was very interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, he did some interesting things, and I learned something about hypnosis over time. Actually, how people can be faked out so quickly, like that. That's too bad. So, when the government or the media is feeding you stuff, how much is parental involvement come into play whether that person can break free or believes everything they're hearing? How much is the parental involvement in what they hear on TV?
You got kids, right?
Yeah, I have children. Do you have children?
No, I do not. I got
Oh,
dogs.
wow. All right, yeah. So, when it comes to children, I have 2 children, and they're in the under 10 age range, and it's definitely, it's an uphill battle. There's no way to monitor their intake of technology and what they're exposing themselves to. I can try to enjoy things with them, but their fortitude to consume is just too much, even compared to me. Which is really, crazy. I guess that's me getting older, or these kids are just pre-formatted.
Because their fortitude from consumption, though, give them a better ability to see past the BS.
Well, I think it's more that they get caught up in that magical entanglement where they're just like, just hyper-focused on a lot of stuff that they find what they want to do.
Well, we were too.
i.e.
We watched
Fortnite.
TV.
Right. But do you find I'll find that my children won't really give a crap about TV because there's more internet media, YouTube. Right. There's Fortnite. There's games. So when I have time that's free, I'm going to do that instead of maybe we grew up watching maybe VHS horror movies, 80s movies, 90s movies, and doing kind of
After
more
school
outside
shows
stuff.
and
Playing sports.
Yeah, those after-school
Well,
shows were pretty
They
good.
all talk about screen time. Remember,
Yeah,
they're surrounded by parents. Screen
Punky
time, screen time.
Brewster, different strokes, Sanford and Son.
Yeah, that was some funny stuff. Sanford and Son.
Hell
I learned
yeah.
how to speak English watching those shows.
Oh,
so
yeah.
A lot of foreigners came here. That was their English lesson.
Que pasa USA?
Que pasa?
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I think it comes down to parenting, 100%. The parents have to keep an eye, but they can't watch everything. You can't be 100%.
Right.
You can't watch everything you do, but you look at the big difference now. I mean, you talked about it earlier, is how many people have one parent home all the time? Most people have 2 incomes. Both parents are working. You have split shifts. You're working one shift, they work another shift, so you have somebody home, so you have to pay for the babysitter. all this stuff is, you can't monitor your kid 24/7. I'm sorry. You just got to teach them some morals and the values and let them learn from there.
Right. Yeah.
Will they be engulfed by social media? Will that be their leader? Will social media be their god?
Be their news.
It's pretty great. It's their news.
Yeah, right. That's where that's where like I get a lot of my news in that. Like I get headlines and that from social media posts, and that inspires me to go out to CNN.com or MSN or whoever it is that's supplying the headline.
Right, but like for example, me and you will go on. You'll do the 30 days, whatever. But will kids be so afraid to speak their mind so they don't get cut off?
Yes. They grew up with this.
That's terrible.
We didn't grow up with this. This is them. This is their life now.
Yeah.
It's social media, all this stuff that we never had growing up, and this is what they're used to.
Well, definitely. I just recently saw something on the news too, talking about how the testing has just shown that our children have regressed since this pandemic. And they're nowhere where they're supposed to be academic compared to generations before them. Mm-hmm. So, which is sad, and it's super true because my children are, like I see them struggle, and it's frustrating as a parent to have to deal with life and then have to deal with the wall
that was created for them.
And socially, they took a hit too. A lot of kids.
Exactly. Yeah. Too, because now it's like social media bullying. That's mixed in.
But you have to agree that what could be learned in an hour is stretched in these schools to an entire week. So it's possible successful home learning kids are getting a serious advantage.
That's up to the parent, big time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, if you have a parent who's accessible, who can dedicate, but I mean, most people have both each have a job and that, and then you got dinner, and then you got to deal with those kids, and you got to get them to sleep, and then you got to get up.
But you agree
the next day.
homeschooling could produce a more
100%.
intelligent...
I've known some great homeschooling kids who actually literally came to high school like their senior year just because they wanted to get accredited to go to college for like a sport or something. They went to Harvard. They went to some of these places. They were amazing. But it's up to the parent. To have a parent home who can work with them and knows how to teach them and work with them at all. It's a lot of work. It's not throw them in front of the computer and you're done.
But you agree that in homeschooling, you could take a subject,
100%.
put it into a more reasonable time without the BS, and get through many subjects faster.
One-on-one teaching compared to teaching instead of 30, 40, 50 kids, it's going to reach them a lot quicker. Yeah.
Can your average parent become a homeschool teacher
No.
if they have the time?
Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard, man. It was so hard. I was like, wow. It was so hard. I was dealing with two kids. Man, what was it? I think it was a pre-K, which was not too bad, and a third grader. Yeah, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
You got to also deal with their emotional, states throughout the entire day, being in the house all day too.
Sure. And they're different grades. They have different needs, different wants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Little House on the Prairie. All the kids are together.
Yeah, that's why
thing,
it's truly
you know.
fiction.
No, I mean that's how people grew up teaching their kids, though.
No air conditioner. Like, how would you be able to maintain the kill switch to off?
It was cooler back then.
No way.
They dealt with the heat. I don't know.
They wore more clothes.
Damn global warming. No.
Damn global warming. I knew that was the culprit there. But no, that's interesting that we're talking about that because I'm afraid for kids in the future not speaking their mind, not because they're afraid of their government, but because they're afraid of
Their access to social
their
media.
access to social media and being cut off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Personally, I don't care. Ban me.
Yeah. I think we lost our battery on camera too.
Oh, man.
I'm going to change it real quick while you guys chat here.
This is like the fourth battery we've had since I've been here.
No, I realize I got to plug in another camera to my nice Canon, and I have a battery pack that doesn't require changing. But here, I'm going to do that while you guys chat.
It's nice.
Here, talk amongst yourselves.
It's amazing, how smooth that camera looks.
Right, it looks really nice.
So clean.
It looks really nice.
And
I was, on Saturday night I recorded the band, if you look on the channel.
Yeah, amazing.
And it came out really nice. The Canon did a significant better job than the stream cams could.
It would be nice though if more local venues picked up on something like that. Having your type of footage there would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Why can't all venues sort of have a live stream component to their shows?
I mean, they want people there.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it. They want that beer sales, the alcohol sales.
Yeah. What about getting a musical guest who does acoustic, like a 1 or 2 man deal here that you interview?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Play their music?
Yeah,
maybe
I was
play a little
hoping
music.
for that. I was hoping.
You're pretty secluded,
Well,
yeah.
I know this guy's name is Patrick Deegan,
Oh, yeah.
and he promised to introduce me to some CyberMaster dancers, so they
Ooh.
can dance to the music.
I'm in.
And I was thinking, so we have another room out there. It's behind that door, and we have a large area. Well, maybe we can show it here with the camera for a moment. Here we have that whole hallway out there where we can run a whole show. We can do a whole concert here if we wanted to. You know,
Oh, man.
So who knows what the future brings? You know, you guys. You know, any kind of artist. It'd be nice to have a little concert, have some dancers.
Yeah.
You know, do a whole nine yards.
Do like an interview with the band, learn about them, let them play a few songs.
Yeah. I'd love to see what the audience really wants to see. You know, we did a bunch of tech shows. We did hypnotists. We talked about all kinds of EV stuff. You know, it's pretty interesting. You know, and I think the effect of social media is something a lot of people are ignoring.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of chat about it because people don't really talk about how it affects their kids or what they're doing, what you're doing. I do think that when I die, my kids will use my social media platform to sort of learn what happened with me.
You got the remembrance now, right? You set it up for your kid can run the site afterwards, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's a little ridiculous. Honestly, what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning, most of us? Have a cup of coffee. I sit down, I have a smoke, I see what's on my Facebook, see what's on my Twitter, my Instagram, I don't know how many other social media accounts I have. It's part of our daily life now, right?
It's true.
First thing we do.
It's true, you're right in there.
It's sad.
Yeah. but if you get cut off, if I get cut off, it's not the end of the world for me. For them,
us?
it'll be over.
No.
You know what I mean? So what are you teaching your kids about social media today?
I mean, I'm not really teaching them much. I'm just trying to tell them, you know, like, of course, my son gets on games. I kind of try to tell him, you know, anybody who's acting out of, I just socialize only with the friends that you're at school. Anybody odd or strange, block them. Anything strange that happens, come report to me. Because I can't be there all the time. I mean, it's either that or I hover and be some psycho parent who's like staring down my kid every second of the day. You know, I got to worry about my own health, right?
At what point do you monitor secretly their social media activity?
There's an age limit that has to be on that one.
Yeah. I guess when it gets to, you know, to a point where there's enough evidence to warrant, you know, some further inspection on what's happening.
And you feel comfortable putting things where you're sniffing their account?
I mean, they're my responsibility till they're 18, right? So I gotta stay on top of that, right? I mean, it would be the same
So
as
would
me
a 14
following my daughter on a date, maybe, or something in the future, right?
Is tracking their social media the same thing as following your daughter on a date? Is it?
Is it? I mean,
Nowadays, it's pretty damn close.
right? Yeah. What would you equate to it in the 80s or the 70s?
The
or
dad's
60s?
sitting behind you in the movie theater when you're on a
Right.
date.
Yeah, following you, walking around.
So would your kid feel intruded if you're doing that at this point?
Right. I would.
Open and
Oh,
honest.
Dad, don't look at my Facebook account. It's none of your business.
Exactly.
What
But
should-
you got to protect them. You know, if they're going to hurt themselves or put themselves in a bad place, you got to coach them along, get them on the right.
What
track.
are you teaching your kids about freedom or the world when you do that?
Well, that's a tough one.
That's a tough question.
But it is. They're your responsibility. They're your babies. They haven't learned enough yet. They're not mature enough to handle the world. Be open and honest with them. Hey, listen, I'm going to keep an eye on what you're doing. When you're mature enough to handle it, you're going to have free reign, but you have to learn how to control yourself and how to behave, and I think there's an age.
Why
thing.
were we mature enough to walk to school at the age
We
of
weren't. That's the way our life was.
Yeah, that's definitely crazy. I think about that often. And I'm just like, yeah, I was often off the radar. I had divorced parents, and I was like, my dad worked at night, so like nobody told me what to do, you know. So it's crazy.
We were hanging on the woods somewhere until we got to yell from our mom usually for dinner time.
Yeah.
They didn't know where we were. Our parents half the time. Did yours? I was out
we
and about.
were hanging out on the
Anywhere.
street till nighttime.
Yeah, they didn't know where you were exactly. They knew you were safe somewhere. They didn't know exactly where you were.
Maybe the more defensive cultures come up now with technology, and that is that, you know, it makes you more defensive because you know how crazy, because you see it all the time now. Just like we were talking about death, it's just so prevalent. It's so there in your face every second of the day. Something is happening. Something's being posted.
So what are you teaching your kids by restricting them something that's out there they can't see that they know it's there?
Like the
They
violence.
know it's there,
Like the violence.
but
and all that.
Daddy doesn't want me to see it. What are we teaching our kids when you do that? You know what I mean? Think about it.
You know, I kind of want them to see it, but then again, I don't want to have to do all the cleanup, you know, from like, oh, what are we going to do?
Oh,
It's
you
like
want their
crazy.
friends to do their cleanup while they're smoking weed then?
You also don't want them completely desensitized to it. You want them. You want them to maybe kind of see bits and pieces of stuff, but you don't want them fully involved in that. And
I mean, you
fully
can watch
Only
the
involved.
half
Discovery.
a penis, not the full.
Yes.
I mean, you can go to the Discovery Channel and you can see already, like, you know, graphic stuff. I've
That's
had
a
my
little
children
different.
scared. My
Yeah.
children have told me to, please, I can't watch this. It's too much. And it's like beetles or dung beetles or some nasty thing, like rolling a
I used to
turd.
be my friend Dan's house. Look at the National Geographics.
Can-
It's different.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really adult material.
No. And nowadays, social media, you're seeing violent videos, you're seeing shootings, you're seeing people hit by cars.
Yeah.
Well, where's the point? That's going to be up to the parent.
I can definitely
That's-
think of websites when I was growing up that were just like, it was just, I can think of one in particular, it was called Bert is Evil or something like that.
Oh my
Where they
God.
had various pictures of Sesame Street Bert, like with like Hitler,
Yes.
or with Michael
What?
Jackson. Michael Jackson's like touching, you know, Bert.
It's like the original memes.
Yeah, I forget, it was like Rotten.com or something. It was like,
I
was like
remember
the 90s,
Rotten.com with
yeah.
all the dead people and their guts hanging.
it had a
all
link
over.
to the Bert is Evil website.
That's also not the government say, it's not Facebook say, that's
We
the
were
parents
mad
say.
young looking at that crazy
Yes.
stuff, remember?
Right, exactly.
But that's
Or
a fact.
Faces of Death, or, you know,
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like, whoa, that was the movie to watch, right? You know, like, whoa, banging the monkey's brain to eat it.
Why is
the
banging the
table.
monkey's brain?
That's what I remember from that movie.
Everybody remembers the
Everybody.
remembers the cow bash, the brain bashing.
Yeah.
So in Faces of Death, if you haven't seen it, you may want to see it. It's from the 80s. And basically these wealthy people get together at dinner.
In some African village or
It's
some
an African
restaurant.
village. And they take this little monkey and he's tied by his neck and he's like, "Arr!" And they take these spoons and they beat the shit out of him until he's
death.
unconscious. And then they cut his skull open and eat
Eat his fresh brain.
Yeah.
It's
Fresh.
bad. It's pretty.
I would have sauteed it first or
Right.
put some salt on it or something.
Right.
But it's a crazy. But back in the day, it was a crazy.
Right. We were seeing this at a young age, you know. We were just like, whoa, we just saw that. That was like graphic.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm afraid. I don't know if we can protect our kids from this crazy stuff
Yeah.
that's on the internet.
Yeah.
How will they know the truth?
You don't
from
want
the
to
fake
shelter them
news?
either, though.
Right. I mean, they're going to eventually hit the age where they're going to be able to watch all that graphic content. It's all out there. I mean, it's just, how early do you want to expose them? I mean,
What happens to the kids on the farm that don't have internet and now they're 17 and they see it for the first time? They're far
Shock
behind.
value. Massive shock value.
Massive
now.
shock value.
some Amish or
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they go to that, what do they do? When they get a Rumspringa?
Right.
Get away for 2 years and they get to do it, see the internet and explore. Like, what the hell's going on?
Charles Manson camp. They get loose, they get free. They're just like, what's going on?
So, what advice do you guys have for people who kids are 10, 11, 12 about internet use?
Talk to your kids, be a parent. Don't be their friend.
Yeah.
What is the government doing to help parents?
Hopefully nothing.
Probably.
You don't want the government to
No.
have any say.
No. Do you want the government to tell you what to do with your life, or your kids, or your dog, or your house? Do they
They
know,
are
who knows
now.
better? I know they are now, but who knows better about you and your kids than yourself?
Yeah, because I have a lot of care. Not all parents are involved in their kids.
Not all parents are.
right.
There's
What's
some-
your take on homeschooling?
I'm good with it. If you have the time and commitment, it's a great thing. you said, that 8-hour, 5-day-a-week class to learn one little subject could be done in 3-4 hours. With one-on-one teaching, you can use like tools and other social media to help them really kind of adapt, and models and stuff like that. You could really, hit it a lot faster than you would in public schools.
Does homeschooling work for a 5, 7, 9-year-old, or do you have to start with older kids?
It depends on the kid. I think it really depends.
Yeah, homeschooling for a child?
Attention span's low.
I guess it depends. I mean, what the biggest thing that I felt about homeschooling when it was going on during COVID is that, they were cut off socially. It was like a huge cutoff. That was like a big thing. They were all looking through a monitor, and nobody could talk at the same time. Everybody had to mute in, mute out. It was just...
But that wasn't normal homeschooling. That was COVID, which was a whole bizarre world.
Right.
Normal homeschool kids, I had friends when I grew up.
You just
After school,
socialize them after school.
They came with us. They were part of hanging out in the woods and skateboarding and riding their bikes to the deli, and that was part of their life. They were normal after school. During school, they didn't see anybody except their parents, but after school, they were normal.
Do you predict that there's a possibility that the homeschool children for COVID were less advanced, evenly advanced, or more advanced than the kids who didn't go through it?
I don't think parents were prepared to handle it.
So there's a fallout.
100%. They were thrown into this.
Right.
You guys were thrown into it.
Exactly. It was crazy. It was,
Most parents who do homeschooling study and plan for ahead of time, saying, I want to do this curriculum. They pick the curriculum they want to work with. This was, come on Zoom at 8 a.m. You really didn't have much say in anything.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of thrust upon you in that you now have to do this. You need to set the space up. You need to get the supplies. You need to go back and forth between the schools. You need to become your teacher. And you got to do everything else you have to do on the side,
Yep.
And
In an unpredictable world, who knows what's going on with COVID?
Right. A lot of kids weren't staying on track. A lot of kids weren't doing what they were supposed to. They weren't, just a lot of distractions in the background.
You also look at kids from like lower income communities. They didn't even have laptops, half these kids. Computers.
Good point. Bad internet.
I do a lot of work, charity work, and work in the community, wine dance in Brentwood. Do you think all those families had laptops and computers ready for homeschooling?
Right.
I'm sorry they didn't. The schools had to rush. The government had to spend more money that we had because they weren't prepared for it.
Yeah. A lot of kids that didn't even know how to use computers or had to parents had to show them and do things, until they could do it on their own. It's a lot of work.
Oh, that's very interesting. So where is it going to go? I guess homeschooling is here to stay. Is it going to get perfected over time? Is there a lot of work being done in that area, you think? Do you think that in 5 years you and I'll be able to teach our kids at home?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it may be an incredible market out there if it's not already out there, of maybe homeschool teachers or professionals who can, provide private services to people in the private sector.
It sounds like it has to be community focused with a large group of people.
You'd be a private teacher, teach 5-6 kids in the neighborhood, and probably still make $100,000 a year.
Yeah, if I had a teaching degree, why wouldn't I be doing that? I mean,
it sounds so logical.
It really does.
There must be some problem with it.
Well, you assume that these teachers know how to
Insurances
start
or
a business
something.
and manage that collective on their own.
The idea sounds amazing now. You're getting up. Instead of having 40 kids, you got 5-6 kids.
Right.
You're still making your money, but you're
doing it at home, so you can probably charge a stipend a little higher than the normal charge.
But it's a really good point. In Oregon, for example, in Portland, you can take a number of seniors and you can put them in a home, and that could be their old folks' home, and it's sponsored by the government. You don't have that here the same way. So why couldn't you have homes sponsored where kids go, and that's the schooling, if you will? Well, because the Board of Ed and that whole union. Okay, I'll tell you why now. Because all those union employees need the protection, because if they decide they're not into doing their work anymore, they don't want to be fired, right?
100%.
I mean, that's really what you're seeing ultimately,
But if enough parents got together and said, hey, we'll pay you $100,000 a year to teach our kids for 6 kids, if you're a teacher, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you jump on that?
I don't know, man. You're making a lot of sense to me. Because there's an assumption that can't be done or gained fast enough. But, why couldn't a teacher take on multiple students of 5 people
Yeah.
2 classes a day.
They're getting more attention.
Hyper focus on those kids.
They get more
you know?
attention than a class of 40.
Yeah. Or do it instead of, because often what I hear the gripe about from a lot of teachers is that they're inundated with too much work, that they have to get their own supplies, they have to dress their rooms, they're by their own self out of their own pocket, and most of them have to work a lot of after hours. I mean, there is that big gap of time that you can get off during the summer and stuff, but a lot of people do other things during that time. So they're often, kind of like, I've heard
But
it's
the
like
world, the
volatile.
world is giving this plan that unionized teachers are protected from all kinds of things. But what they're doing is they're taking that 1 hour subject and stretching it into a week. So,
A week.
or more, whatever. And there's a lot of flutter to kind of prove out their work, which is the end result here.
I teach adults. I do 9-month courses or 6-month courses with certain adult students for certain things. And if I have a class that's supposed to be a week long of a certain subject, there's certain classes that, hey, in 2 days, my students are good to go. They know it.
That's a big deal,
but you
man.
can't. You got to remember, you can't teach up here. You have to teach to the guys down here. The top guys are going to be bored, but you can't lose the bottom guys.
Right, but why can't everybody be like you? You're a caring teacher.
I'm not
you
caring
think
at all.
about that. No, you're not caring at all.
Oh, no,
You
not-
get them through it in 2 days. It's you're caring
But I
about
do
something.
other stuff. But not every class is like that. I have other students who are going to take that full 5 days, that they need every single second of that, but not the whole class. Maybe only 3 students out of that class. So the other 12 students are now bored out of their mind for the next 3 days.
It's right. It's not for everybody's on the same page there.
That's the problem.
Right.
Everybody's different. Everybody learns different. It's how you pick up things.
Amen. And I agree with you. That's the key to homeschooling is you can really harness that kid individually than having the collective and everybody being even. Parents have to get involved. That's the whole
100%.
thing. But even with me, we like it when the kids go to school. We got our
You got a break.
what else are you going to do, So, but no, I like the sound of that. So, guys, what message do you have to our audience about children and the internet and what we should be doing in letting them kind of do whatever they want online and not monitor their Facebook or their experience,
Mr. Dugan?
letting them go on their own?
I mean, definitely, I think it's very important to at least, give them the confidence to feel that they can bring things to you that are out of the ordinary, that when they encounter the strange and unusual, to feel comfortable to bring it to you, to help them through it, and not be afraid to identify things out there. Because them bringing it back and talking to you and having a relationship, I guess, with your kids and being able to talk about things and them not hide things from you is I guess, really important and very hard to do as well as everything else is.
Is letting kids on the internet unfiltered the same thing as our parents letting us play outside unsupervised? Isn't it the modern version of
In a
that?
way.
Possibly, yeah.
But I think there's just a lot more scams and creepiness
Right.
online than we had.
There's more
as-
facetious people hanging around at that electronic book.
In our
How do you
town.
know? The
that's
same
right.
people, just we have more news coverage of the same behavior.
Yeah,
I
but
grew up in
everybody in
a
a chat room. There could be 100 people in a chat room trying to, talk to your daughter.
I grew up in a town, I think my middle school graduation was like 60 people, if that.
Wow.
I grew up in a small town. I had
Yeah.
a gas station and a deli and a stationery store.
Right.
That was my town, out east in Long Island. I knew everybody in my whole neighborhood.
Close.
There was nothing to worry about for me. I could ride around the block, I can go to the deli, I can go to town. I'm going to see the same people every day. If somebody I didn't know, chances are I didn't belong there, I kept away from them. You go online, you don't know who you're talking to. It could be a 7-year-old man acting as a 10-year-old girl or a 10-year-old boy, and you don't know.
But when our parents let us roam around, you get hit by a car, get kidnapped.
You could.
Why wasn't there such a
true.
difference? It was the same thing. Think about it.
Yeah. So people just didn't fear things. I think it's overexposure of the internet. It makes you think about it because it's in your face all the time. before we had movies that we watch and be blown away and see things to the extreme there. But now it's just everywhere. There's no way. You're if you have a phone, if you're plugged in even remotely, even my parents who are old and gray and don't really get on the internet are getting it, coming
So
in.
it's not that there's technically a more danger, it's more in your face.
More accessible, more in your face.
Anything. You could look for anything, right?
Wow. So I like the fact that the Libertarian Party is thinking, get the government out of your face only when needed. Does the Libertarian Party think that all things, even government services, and what about the rest of the stuff where government does have a play to be neutral?
There's different views on it. You'll consider me borderline anarchist. I do, like I said, I work in Wyandanch and all these places. I work with guys who've been in jail for 10 years for drug use and stuff that they go to DSS. And guess what they do for them? Nothing. They're still sitting and living in the park. They still have this problem. They still can't get a house over there from the government help. So that's when people like me and other local organizations come in, private organizations, and guess what? They give them a home. They get them rehab.
They actually do something.
They can. The government has too much red tape to get anything done, and other people got to step in. And we need more of that. I know some wonderful people who are feeding the homeless right now with a 24-hour bodega. 2 refrigerators open 24 hours in Brentwood right now. You're a family, you need milk, bread, and eggs, go to their bodega, grab it out of the fridge.
Why is it against the law to feed the homeless?
In most states, most
in
areas,
most states, why?
the government doesn't like competition.
So the government wants to feed the homeless, but you and
They
I
want
can't.
you. They want you to keep coming to social service. They want you to depend on them. The government loves dependency.
I don't think the general population realizes that
No, they don't.
you and I can't give our food. It has to be given by the government.
In most states in New York, you will be arrested or fined for feeding the homeless. And anywhere in the country, you will be fined or arrested. I actually know somebody personally who was arrested and beaten in Brentwood Park. I forgot the name of the park. For that,
I'm disgusted to hear that.
the government doesn't like competition. They want you to keep coming back to them. You need them.
DSS is a large operation.
DSS is a joke. DSS is a joke. They help who they want. They help certain people to hit their quota, and that's it.
I completely agree with you. I know situations that you go to the counter, you get one response, but you go with a civic leader, you get a completely different response.
100% every time.
It's political there as well.
100%, and that's why we need local people. We need local leaders. We need local, people actually care. You know, when you see me walking the streets in Wyandanch or Brentwood, I'm not doing it for political reasons. I'm bringing attention to those people. I'm trying to get news media and attention to those guys for the help they need and the crap they've gone through. In jail for pot? Really? I'm sorry. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, but if you went to jail for pot, now you're going to be quite wealthy individual. That was a lucky streak that happened.
Well, it's only if you have like $200,000 to put in for it.
Yes, correct.
I'm
correct.
sorry, because those people don't have it.
And it's a successful business for multiple years.
Yeah, you will if you have that money. But
So are you a Ronald Reagan fan because he
No.
agreed with small government?
Ronald Reagan was a corporatist. All he cared about
He was an actor.
He only cared about his corporations. His trickle-down theory was a joke. Ronald Reagan destroyed a lot of things. Even though people praise him for some of the good he did, his long
Who's the
standing stuff.
Libertarians' favorite president?
I don't think we have one. I know, I
Really?
personally don't.
That's a good question if you think about it. You know, who's their prime example? Is there a country you guys look up to that is an example that maybe
It doesn't
supposed to
exist.
come here?
No. No, like I said, you look at the monarchs over in Europe and come on, that's a joke. Are we done with this now? They're a puppet show. Am I wrong?
Right.
What about the Vatican? What's your take on the Vatican?
The richest country in the world, you mean, who doesn't do anything for anybody else except hoard money and value? Yeah, it's great.
Don't realize the Vatican is its own country
It's the richest country in the world.
with the smallest population.
Smallest population with the most amount of wealth, hoarded paintings, all this stuff hidden that we'll never see, never touch.
Wow.
And what do they do for you? Because I think, as far as I know, all these local churches have to give to the bigger church, which gives to the, and eventually keeps going, trickle up here. It's not
Gotcha.
trickle down, it's trickle up theory for that.
Yeah, wow. There must be some incredible secrets. In
I'd love to see that stuff one day.
right? Imagine what's down there. You know, so what do you think? What's your take on the future of social media and what kids are going to experience? Are they going to have an easier time or harder time becoming social on social media?
Being social on social media, man.
Does the social media remove their social media, the social behavior, where they can't live without the texting? Literally standing next to somebody, I can't talk to you, I get text through social media.
You know, interesting. I mean, it's definitely, I think they'll use it more for convenience, and that I find my kids often still use it so that they can play video games more easy between them and still be able to communicate. You know,
yeah. I get the feeling that there'll come a point where they will not. Well, you say something and it does completely meaningless, or punch you in the face, completely meaningless. But what I put on Facebook is how I really feel about it. You know, and that duality worries me. Whatever they put on Facebook is what they really mean, but they can act whichever way they want in another way. You know what I mean?
Everybody's got their own little facade, or how they act. You know, their kind of their costume they put on for the world.
And look at it now. Everybody's putting these pictures up. I look so happy. Meanwhile, they got their antidepressants.
Right. Well, that's
their
with everybody.
Facebook pictures look fabulous.
Right.
Why can't you just be an asshole all the time? It's easy.
Why can't you just put the bad pictures on there?
Because they don't want to give that portrayal on Facebook.
Exactly.
They don't. They use the filters and make themselves look all pretty. Everything's got to be perfect.
That's the same when you send pictures to your family members and that, right? You pick the best ones. These kids look great. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
So we'll do that day to day with them, right?
But normally the pictures are the kid's hitting this one, he's pulling this one's hair.
I cut all that. Being a professional, I get rid of those, you know?
You take the best, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I pray for the future of the internet. Thank you for joining us on this interesting conversation about all this. You guys want to say anything else? How about Patrick, our other friend Patrick? I hope you're doing well. He's our civic activist friend, and I've known him for many years. And I know one thing that we always talk about, we'd love for the local government who's taking our taxes to care about us. That's all we want.
That's all we want.
A little care, a little love, right?
Stop spending, lower our taxes, we'll all be happy.
Yeah. Fix the roads, show us a little effort,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean?
Stop hiring your brother as the IT guy. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think that I'd love to do a whole show on this, about how the machine works. How does nepotism work, and how does the friends and family find their way into this government over time, you know? But hey, I know quite a bit of people in those areas that do care quite a bit.
Some do.
And even though their leaders come and go, they take it upon themselves to add quality control and do the right thing, which is possibly what you're engaged in as well. You take it upon yourself to do a good job, you know. So there is room for something good, you know. It's unlike communism. Now they change the head every 4 to 8 years. That's you remove the head off a body so many times, eventually it's not going to glue on anymore.
Little duct tape.
And you have that separation now. You're seeing it. Right, there's this graph that they build between what humans expect and what they're getting out of the government. It's completely out of line.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Just real quick before we end the show, how did we get there with that?
Government got too powerful. You look at the president. The president was a figurehead for the United States for how long? And then all of a sudden they have all these executive orders and all this other crazy stuff. They actually have power now. Power used to lie in what? The Senate and Congress. Now the president has too much power. The local leaders think they're untouchable because what? All these guys and friends are giving them money for lobbying. All these little big companies are in their back pocket. They have too much power, too much control, and they don't fear anybody.
Doesn't only a revolution fix that?
I don't think we ever want to go that far. But I think people need to wake up and stop voting party line and start looking for the best person for the job. I don't care what party you're in. Sometimes you're a town, maybe a Democrat's better for you. Maybe an independent, maybe Republican, but stop voting party line. Open your mind up and actually research these people. Look at their backgrounds. Look who they're connected to. It took me 30 seconds to pull up a name that we talked about yesterday, and I saw about 7 different connections. We have this research, this greatest thing. You got, what, Google and DuckDuck, all this stuff, right? Type in a name. Do a little back checking. Do a little research. Find out about them. pay attention to who you're voting for and what's best for your community. Vote local.
People aren't researching
No.
nowadays.
Not at all.
Wow, how sad. Well, guys, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a nice evening, everybody. Next week, we're going to talk more about what's happening in space. We talked about some of the worldly problems. We're going to go back to our space show. I find it fascinating what's happening up there. People don't recognize the international war that's secretly taking place with our space race. And it's being ignored and not talked about. And it's just something else that should be brought to light.
Love
Right?
it.
So you have your government holding things back here, holding things up in space.
And NASA behind every private organization ever.
Yeah.
They fell so far behind.
One last quick question. What is America's primary export today? Is it entertainment?
Right now, I actually don't even know.
Yeah, I would say
I would
it's
assume
probably
so.
entertainment. Yeah, those are who really control, right? The big companies.
Hollywood and everything else.
Yep, their hands are in everything, right?
Yeah.
Everything. All right, good night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
guys.
Be good.
Let me find my ending screen real quick. Oh, it's right here.